All right. Hi, everyone. You might know me already if you've been following our live streams, but if not, my name is Tiff. I'm a certified professional dog trainer, and I'm also the behavior manager at the Humane Society of Western Montana. We love presenting these free live streams, and tonight's topic is a puppy topic, Leash Skills, Part 2. It's called Part 2 because we've already done a live stream on Leash Skills, and you can visit that on, I believe, our YouTube channel or on our Facebook page in the video section. There will be some review in this live stream because review is always nice, but I will also approach this topic from a slightly different perspective, and I've added a couple of different skills here as well. Of course, all of our live streams are accessible by dogs of all ages, even though what I say and do will be geared towards puppy owners, so puppies between 8 to 16 weeks of age. And let's talk about leash skills. So if you have a puppy, you might already have experienced that walking them can be hard. They might pull away from you, bite the leash, bite you, or bite everything else in their vicinity instead of focusing on you. All of these are extremely normal puppy behaviors, but it doesn't mean that you can't start working on leash skills now. I want to be really, really clear about what a fair expectation for leash skills for 8 to 16-week-old puppies looks like. So I don't expect a puppy to walk like an adult dog, simply because a puppy doesn't have the same motivation that an adult dog has. An adult dog might be more interested in moving forward and sniffing, and they like just the feeling of just walking with you. Puppies, their brains are hardwired for them to explore and learn what is safe and what is comfortable and discover what is new. So if you're frustrated because you're trying to take your puppy on that 15, 30-minute walk in the morning to tire them out before work, I would recommend don't walk them for 15 to 30 minutes in the morning. It doesn't mean don't exercise them or don't take them out, but shift your perspective a little from walking them to simply being outside and exploring with them with the exercises and rules that I'll share with you today. So a lot of the frustrations will get better as they age. A lot of your frustrations will get better as your puppy ages because their motivation to just walk will increase. And it would be a little unfair of us as the owners to expect them to walk like adult dogs at this age. So when we work on leash skills with our puppies, the goal is to let them explore, but within the boundaries of the rules we set forward. For example, I want to let my puppy sniff and roll in the grass and pick up sticks, but I don't want her to pick up trash or run into the street or act like a little ping pong ball on the leash or bite me or anything like that. So we want to create fair rules and make it fun. And we want to start teaching the beginnings of what it means to be on leash. So don't pull, right? Don't pull doesn't mean heel at my left side for 30 minutes. It simply means, when the leash is on and you feel that pressure, don't panic, don't pull, and we're going to have fun together. Things like that. And before we get started with our skills, I just want to talk about one more thing to think about as far as perspective and leash training a puppy. It's also important to discover, why is your puppy challenging to walk on leash, other than the general thing I just mentioned about puppies being very exploratory and not very focused. But more specific reasons can be things like, my puppy is afraid when the leash goes on and she plants herself and tucks back. Or my puppy gets overstimulated when we step outside and he's just lunging and just going in circles. Or my puppy is distracted by smells. Or my puppy is distracted not by smells, but by the sight of other dogs and people. You might experience different challenges and different behaviors on different days. That is totally normal. But what I hope to do in today's session is go through a bunch of exercises that will help, and also talk about which exercises will help for what specific situation. Okay, as always, if you have any questions, enter them in the comments and I will address them as best as I can. And before I get started with our first topic, I just want to configure my Facebook page just to make sure I can see your comments as they come in. So let me just best as I can. And it's before I get started with our, okay. All right, so there is quite the lag between what I'm presenting and what I'm seeing. So, but I will still see your comments if you post them. All right, joining me today is my ever eager puppy, Paya, who is now 6 months old, and she walks quite well on leash. We're still working on it, but I went through exactly all the steps that I'm going to show you today. So without further ado, let me get her off of her tether, and we're going to start with our first exercise. Paya. All right. So I always like to start with leash pressure. This is going to be review. If you've done a few live streams with me before. Oh, I should say this. If you're following along with your dog or puppy, all you need today is a leash and a collar on your dog and some of their kibble. So if your puppy is very new to your life, you want to have an easy time leashing them up. Puppies will naturally get mouthy with you as you grab their collar to try to put the clasp on that D-ring. So have a clasp ready in one hand. Have your thumb on the thing. Identify where the D-ring is on their collar. Have 2 to 3 pieces of kibble in one hand, and you're going to simultaneously feed one piece at a time while you clip the leash on. So feed, feed, feed. I'm so bad at this because her D-ring is so small. And if you don't get it the first time, I never get it the first time, just don't panic and don't rush, because if you rush, your puppy's going to get mouthy. Just get some more kibble and do it again. So I'm going to feed, and there we go. The leash is on. Nice and easy. Of course, because I worked on this and she's an older puppy, I can do whatever I want to her and her collar, and she's not going to get mouthy. But if you visit my first live streams when she was 10 weeks old, 12 weeks old, absolutely she was mouthy with me. Oh, are you going to offer your paw because we're working on that? Good. All right. So easy way to get the leash on. Now I want to talk about leash pressure. We've talked about leash pressure a lot, but it's because it's so important. It's really important to realize that when puppies fight against the leash itself, like when it tightens up and when they reach the end, it's because they're scared. There's this thing that's trapping them. And like any animal that feels trapped, they're gonna try to move away from it. Like if someone suddenly grabs your arm, even gently, you're going to pull back instinctively, like, hey, I'm going to try to get away from this. So don't take it personally. It's instinctive, but we can help them work past that. So what we're going to do is be very patient and gentle. I'm going to have kibble ready in one hand. I am going to have my leash a little shorter at first, especially if this is new to me and my puppy. And watch carefully. I'm not pulling my puppy. I'm just going to straighten the leash just so it's straight and immediately feed my puppy in the direction that I'm pulling in. And I'm doing air quotes with pulling because I'm not truly pulling my puppy. So I'm going to do it again at a different angle. So hopefully you can see the leash is loose. I have the treat ready. I'm just going to straighten it and feed in this direction. What this easy exercise teaches your puppy is that when they feel that slight tension on the leash, don't panic. They just need to move into the pressure to release that pressure and also get a food reward. I realize that you guys watching, I mean, I don't know who's watching, but your puppies might be different ages. Your puppy might be past this step right now. So as you practice, you can increase the length of the leash and how hard you're pulling, right? You're never going to yank your puppy, but for example, she's been doing this a while, so I can straighten it more and then feed her. And then straighten and then feed. And then straighten a different direction and then feed. Awesome. This technique is really great if your puppy is afraid when they're on leash, or if they are overly excited when they're on leash, because that feeling of being trapped both exacerbates fear and frustration. And if your puppy is really young, excuse me, I have the hiccups, even before going on a walk, you can practice this just for a minute, and that'll help your puppy be much more prepared to go on a little exploratory walk with you. All right. And there's so many benefits to this, even though we haven't talked about later loose leash walking skills yet. This really aids in loose leash walking, because when a dog pulls in general on a walk, it's because they want to get to something ahead, and they think that feeling the pressure and pulling gets them to the thing that they want. Versus if a dog learns that moving into the pressure gets them something good, it's going to help them walk much more nicely on leash too. I'm going to do a little demonstration. Do not do this at home, but I want to show you the results of what it looks like when you do a lot of pressure exercises positively, like what I'm showing you right now. Hiya. Good. 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 Look at how loose her body and her butt is. She has such a cute butt. Her tail's doing that nice, loose, neutral wag. I can drag her by the collar, by the leash, by the scruff, and she's happy as a clam. I would never do this to a dog that's not mine. And I don't do this to, train her or make her do things necessarily. But, if I need to pull her out of traffic all of a sudden because I stepped off the curb too fast, I'm not going to have a dog that stops and panics. I'm going to have a dog that turns on a dime and thinks, great, let's go together. So again, just the demonstration of where this can go if you diligently work on leash pressure exercises. And if you are working on this, if you're going to work on this, which you should, 1 minute a day, that's all it takes. I literally did this 1 minute a day or less to get the results that you see. So leash pressure, always important, always worth reiterating. And let's jump into general leash skills. So you need to do the leash pressure thing first and get your puppy comfortable with that first before moving on to general leash skills. Because if your puppy is afraid of the feeling of being trapped on leash, you're going to get stuck at some point. All of the exercises I'm going over today work in sequence with each other. So if your puppy is not great at leash pressure, you should focus on that and not focus so much on the skill that I'm going to show you now. And if your puppy isn't really good at the skill that I'm about to show you, do not go on to the next skill that I'm about to show you too much until your puppy gets good at this one. So the skill that we're going to work on now is general loose leash walking rules. And we should all picture, how do I want my dog to walk on leash? Or how do I want my puppy to walk on leash when she grows up? We might not mind if our puppies pull now because they're small and they're cute and we want to let them explore. But when they get to be 60 pounds or even honestly 40 pounds of dog, they still pull really hard. It's going to get tiring for us. So going back to what I said at the very beginning of all this, letting your puppy socialize and explore doesn't necessarily mean you let them do whatever they want on leash. But the opposite is also true. Letting your puppy or working on leash skills doesn't mean you should expect like a perfect heel at your hip at this age either. Let's find the middle ground, which is let's teach them some very easy leash skills and set up many opportunities for them to succeed. So you can tailor this to whatever your goals will eventually be, but let's say as a general rule, I want my dog to walk without pulling me, right? Pretty easy. So here's what you're going to do. You are going to say your puppy's name and you're going to happily move backwards a bit. And if your puppy moves with you, like moves towards you, be ready to say good and give them a treat. Paya, good. So she happily came towards me. I'm going to say good and give her a treat. Then I'm going to turn in a different direction and do the same thing. Good. And then I'm going to turn in a different direction and do the same thing. Good. And then repeat. Good. 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 Your dog doesn't need to sit. She just does some auto sits sometimes, which is really nice. And then if your puppy does hit the end, like what she's doing right now, don't panic, don't pull them, just stand there because they're eventually going to realize, oh, I'm not going to get anywhere. I'm just going to come back to you. So I'm going to demonstrate this. Let's say we're doing this and then suddenly my puppy veers to the side because she gets distracted. I'm just going to stand here. Good. Now she's back at me. All right, go get that. I don't even know where it went. All right. So again, if you have any questions, please type them into the comments. But if you have a dog right in front of you right now, let's give this a try for a minute or so. And I'm going to keep practicing with my puppy and describing what I'm doing. So let's say she's pulling. I'm just going to stand here. The leash is tight. I know you can't see her. And there she is. Good. And move somewhere else. Good. 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 Nice and easy. So you might be wondering, why are we doing this step? So she's pulling, right? I'm just going to stand here. Good. And there she is. Excellent. Free. So why am I doing this step? I don't walk like this, right? I don't just turn circles. I actually want to walk down the sidewalk. But again, if your puppy is new to all of this, this is a foundational skill because it teaches your puppy, keep the leash loose and move with my person. Even if you're walking backwards for now, this easily turns into forward walking. Good. 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 and so on and so forth. Of course, if you're outside and your puppy stops, like tries to come towards you, and then they get distracted and want to sniff the grass, let them do that. I mean, that's not, sniffing the grass doesn't necessarily mean pulling, right? And they're puppies, they're going to get distracted. We don't need that laser focus. We just need to make sure that whatever they're distracted by is not harmful to them. That's all. And that focus and that desire to walk and train more will develop if you keep your expectations in check, but also keep the exercises simple and make it easy for your puppy to succeed. She can do nothing but win in this scenario, right? Versus if I went to, I don't know, like if I went to my local city park on a beautiful Sunday afternoon and there are kids and dogs and bikes everywhere and my puppy's lunging and barking and I'm trying to do this with a new puppy, I wouldn't be surprised if I got frustrated that my puppy is distracted because I've set her up in a situation that is way over her head, and that is not where I start with this kind of training. The good news with this also is if your puppy is under vaccinated and you're not bringing them to very populated areas, like the trails you normally want to walk them on, eventually want to walk them on, this is a very easy exercise to do in your front yard, good, in your house, in your driveway. And like I said, we are working on leash skills here because there is a leash in play and you are reinforcing exactly the behaviors you want your puppy to develop. So win-win situation. This exercise is particularly good for puppies that are distractible in the environment because they're earning rewards from you and you're constantly switching directions to keep them very, very, keep things novel and interesting and fast-paced for them. Good. Very, very nice job, Kaya. All right. So we're going to move on. Just checking my notes real quick. Okay. Another general tip. Now, this is going to be the most abstract thing we're going to work on tonight, but it's all about having fun with your puppies outside. What we don't want to do is step out the car or step out our front door. Our puppies are extremely, let's say, distracted, not paying attention to us, and we're just frustrated. Like, okay, come on, I just want to walk, or why won't you focus on me? And we stand there and we say their names over and over again, and we yank on their leash. We don't want to do that, because that's just going to teach them to continue ignoring us. Even if you don't formally work on leash skills, if you simply put a leash on your puppy and go outside and have fun, they're going to learn to be less distracted as they grow up, because they're going to learn, hey, I'm outside, I play with you. And that is such an important thing. So I didn't necessarily have you guys prepare a toy or anything, but just think about what your puppy likes, think about what activities they like, and try to have those things happen outside. For example, if your puppy goes crazy at the little squeaky toy that you bought them and they play with it in the living room, I would say maybe don't play with it so much in the living room and play with it in the front yard where there are distractions. Because if you do all the fun things inside and then outside is all business, they're going to play with you and be focused inside and be completely distractible outside. So here's an example of what I might do outside. Let's see. And if you see me walking around with Kaya, you're going to see I always have at least 2 treat pouches and a toy. Like the toy's usually tucked into my back, my belt. So let's say we are walking or practicing in the front yard. I might walk. Good. I'm rewarding those easy, achievable leash skills. Good. You know, she's keeping the leash loose. She's moving with me. Good. And then I might do some training games that she likes. Good. Maybe I'll do some luring, which we're not going to cover today. Good. Good. Maybe I'll pet her a little bit, right? Maybe I'll bring the toy out. Tug. Oh, I shouldn't drop the leash though. Well, you shouldn't if you don't trust your puppy outside. We're playing. We're playing. Yeah. So good. Good girl. Now I'm going to feed her some treats, and then we're going to go back into some walking exercises. Good. 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 Down. Good. Target. Good. Yay. And then that's all you did outside. You're actually setting your puppy to be much easier to leash train when they get older. So have fun with your puppy outside is the big takeaway of this part of today's live stream. All right, no questions in the comments yet, so onwards we go. We also want to practice impulse control. So let me think about how to phrase this, because socialization is so important. Let's say your puppy sees your neighbor and your puppy really wants to say hi. And you think, I want to let my puppy say hi to my neighbor because I want my puppy to like my neighbor. And also, all the books I read tell me I should socialize my puppy with as many people as possible. So maybe your puppy pulls you over on leash, cutely jumps on your neighbor is so happy he gets to play with your puppy is so excited, and then you move on with your day. There's nothing inherently wrong with that situation, but think about how your puppy is greeting the neighbor or the dog or whatever it is. Whatever you see now is what you're going to get 2 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now. So if your puppy's jumping, let's say as an example, if your puppy's jumping and pulling is cute now, but you don't think it's going to be cute a year from now, do not let them pull and jump on people now. That does not mean don't socialize your puppy. It just means let's think about how we let them greet things on leash. So we're going to do a very simple impulse control exercise. This exercise is particularly good for puppies who pull because they are distracted by something in particular. And like I said before, we're kind of going sequentially here from easiest, most foundation building skills to more complex skills. But if your puppy doesn't have a good grasp of leash pressure yet, you probably shouldn't work on this skill yet because it's more advanced. But you can revisit this live stream at any point. So there is no rush to just follow along today if your puppy is not ready. But what we're going to do is we are going to hold the leash short. I've done a variation of this so many times because it's so useful in so many contexts. And I'm going to take a treat and I'm going to throw it out of reach, which she's already so good at. But let's say she was pulling to get it. I'm just going to stand here. I'm not going to yank her back. I'm not going to get upset. I'm just going to let her realize, hey, you can't reach it. Yep. Look at what she's doing now. Good. I want to reward any behaviors that I like. So let's think about behaviors that you might like. You might like if your puppy doesn't pull. Good. You might like if your puppy stands calmly. Good. You might like if your puppy looks at you or if your puppy sits. So think of a list of calm and appropriate behaviors in your head and be ready to reward it. Good. Now comes the next part. When your puppy is calm and behaving the way you want them to behave around distractions, you're going to give them permission to get the thing. A permission word is called a release cue. A lot of people use the word okay. I use the word free. And off she goes. She gets to go get that treat. If that was a person, she gets to go greet the person. If this was the dog park gate, she gets to go into the dog park. I don't go to dog parks, but as an example. So in this way, your puppy will get the socialization that you want to give them. They're going to get to play with dogs and play with people, but we're just doing a hot minute of training beforehand so that they learn to be calm in order to get what they want. It's a win-win situation for everyone. And not only does it work on leash skills, teaching your puppy to be calm while on leash around distractions, but they also get to be a puppy and go interact with things. So I'm going to do this a few times and explain it a few times. I'm going to hold the leash short. I'm going to throw a distraction out of reach. If my puppy's pulling to get it, I'm just going to calmly hold the leash. I'm going to be ready to reward any calm behaviors I see. Good. At about 3 to 5 second intervals. Good. Good. And then when my puppy is as calm as I want her to be, free. She gets to go get that thing that I tossed. I'm going to do it a few more times. Good for looking at me and that leash loosened a little bit. Good for standing calmly. Good for sitting. Good for looking at me. And free. Now you have permission to get the treat because you were so calm, even though there was a distraction on the ground. I'm going to show you an example of how this works with a real life distraction. Bray. Bray. Ready, Bray? I set up the coffee table. He doesn't want to jump past. Bray, let's go. Free. He doesn't want to jump over. Let me move the coffee table real quick. Ooh, it's gonna fall. Hey, Bray. So here's my other dog, Bray, who I always keep on the sidelines for the lesson. And look at how excited my puppy is. I'm actually a little too close because of my space restrictions. But let's say my puppy really wants to say hi to this dog. And I say, hey, can my puppy say hi to your dog? Yes, says the stranger. Okay, I'm just gonna have her calm down first. Is that okay? Yes, that's fine. Take your time, says the stranger. Good for sitting. Good for sitting and staring at me. Good. And then free. Now she gets to say hi or play with the dog, right? I'm going to do it again. Whoa. Good dogs. So let's say there's a dog and let's say she's straining. I'm just going to hold her. Good. Ideally not right next to the dog's face, but you know, in real life, the dog's 10 feet away or something. Good. I'm just rewarding calm behavior. Good. Good. How easy is this? I'm not doing stays. I'm not doing leave-its. I'm not shouting commands. Good. I'm just letting my puppy, I'm exercising patience and letting my puppy perform naturally good behaviors, and I'm ready to reward it. Again, the lunging, the overexcitement, there's nothing abnormal about that. Puppies are just like that. It doesn't mean you need to over-control them, right? I don't need to yank her away, but I'm also just not letting her play yet. Easy as that. Good. And when she's calm, free. Yay. What an appropriate greeting. Yeah, what's a girl? And actually, we're not playing yet because we're doing a live stream. All right, ready, Kaya? Good. And look at how quickly she refocuses on me too. I mean, she's an absolutely normal puppy. She gets distracted by people. She gets distracted by dogs out in the world, but she's not reactive. She's not lunging and barking at them because I've worked so hard on this. So whether it's a piece of food on the ground or your neighbor wanting to say hi or a dog you want your puppy to play with, you can do this easy exercise to let them get the socialization they want and access the rewards, but also reinforce nice calm behaviors, especially on leash outside. So we're going to move on. I don't see any questions yet. All right, we're going to work on impulse control to prevent your puppy from jumping up and mouthing you. So let's say you're trying to work on all of these skills with your puppy and your puppy's not distracted by the other dog, but they're on top of you. They're biting your pants, they're biting your hands, they're trying to snatch things out of your hands, or when you're trying to feed them a treat, they jump up and take it and their teeth are so sharp, right? This exercise is great for your puppies who are just overly excited about you and the things that you have. This is something I've done a lot before, but we're going to do treat toss. So there are many methods of rewarding a dog, and I love treat toss. This is where you show your puppy the treat and just toss it on the ground. Young puppies are really bad at finding treats. So you can't just toss it like this yet. This is when your dog is older. You might need to do a baby version, like really show it to them and just toss it right in front of them. But the more you practice this, the easier it gets, because then your puppy will get better at tracking the treats. And then when you're doing the leash exercises, you can say, good, and toss it on the ground. Good, and toss it on the ground. Good. Good. And so on and so forth. So she absolutely had a jumpy phase. And in fact, when I reward her, she still jumps up sometimes, which I allow because I am okay with that, but not general jumping. But if your puppy is just over the top, practice those treat tosses because you're going to be able to train with them without getting your hands messed up and without them getting too excited about being on top of you. The other thing we can do is reward more rapidly, especially because puppies are really small. Getting the treat to them, if we're too slow, they're going to jump up for it. So what you want to do is you want to practice. And this is all about practicing arm muscle memory. Get the treat out and then go low. So like scoop your hand down. Scoop your hand down. And if you have a dog right in front of you right now, you can practice this. This is actually useful for many situations. But let's say I'm walking up with my dog on leash. Good. I take a treat out and it's low, right? If I take a treat out and I'm lingering up here, my puppy's going to jump up here to get that treat, try to snag it out of my hands as it comes out of the treat pouch, right? So you're going to practice moving with your puppy a little bit on leash while she's drinking some water. And then when they are doing well with the exercises we did before, you're going to say, good, treat and scoop low. Good, get a treat and go low. Good, get a treat and go low. No time to jump up or treat toss. So those are two really great techniques. Of course, if your puppy is really sharky with food in your hand, feeding them with a flat palm can also help, right, Paya? Good. Like feeding a horse. Good. And then this is for puppies who aren't jumpy, but are a little hard about taking treats. Great, go on. Good. 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 So as you can see, when a trainer says reward your dog for walking nicely on leash or something like that, even how you reward your dog can radically change their behavior. Good. Flat palm. Good. Rapid reward. Good. Treat toss. I utilize all of these in different situations. Onwards we go. Let's see, what else do we have here? All right, actually, that was everything that I had for today. There weren't any comments, so I assume there are no questions. I will hope that that means I just presented clearly enough for you guys. A few reminders, if you didn't watch the Leash Skills, the previous Leash Skills video, it is available on our Facebook page if you just click on videos. And my colleague Katie is amazing, and she's been editing them down and putting them on our YouTube channel, which is just HSWM. I'm gonna pull up some information so that you can contact me or my behavior team if you have any further questions. I'm just gonna do a quick share screen here. Here we go. If you have any questions at all, whether it's leash related or not, or puppy related or not, please reach out at behavior@myhswm.org. We have a behavior team member working 7 days a week, and we are always happy to help. The behavior helpline is a free service we offer our community, and we even help people outside of Missoula. I've had people call from across the country, and we are still happy to talk dogs with them. We are going to continue live streams every Wednesday and Thursday at 6 o'clock for at least through the winter. I know March is ending soon, and I don't know. Well, what we hope is to be able to offer our regular classes once the weather warms up, once people get vaccinated, things like that. So keep an eye on our Facebook page, because once we start offering our regular training services, Facebook is the first place where we will post it. And we are so excited and hopeful that we can do that again soon. And as always, if you are feeling generous, and you can make a donation to our shelter, and every cent goes towards the care of our shelter pets. As always, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I have a blast with this, and so does my puppy, and I hope you walk away with really useful tips.